I'm Krystina DeVille, and this is Maritime Ink. Okay, so the name of my shop, I wanted something that was original. I didn't want to go really cliche with it. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit clever and anti-socialite. To me, the tattoo industry is about individuality. A lot of people have stories to tell through their work, and some of those stories represent hard times or perseverance, or none of it really fits into that kind of socialite, things got handed to you ideal. Nothing really gets handed to you in this industry. Everybody who is a successful tattoo artist has worked really hard and fought every day to be here. And I just wanted the name of my shop to kind of represent what the industry represents to me.
Okay.
I got my first tattoo when I was 12. I stole beer from my dad and money from my dad, bussed downtown, coerced a homeless man with the beer to say he was my dad. Then I went to this biker tattoo shop, and the homeless man hung out with me while I was getting my first barbed wire tattoo. It is lopsided now. I've grown since then, and honestly, I still don't regret it. I don't think I'm going to cover it up or get it removed because it was my first tattoo. I kind of just wanted to look tough, and now everybody and their mom and grandma have tattoos, and it doesn't make you look tough. I have old ladies tell me how beautiful my face tattoo looks. So that didn't really work, but I'm actually really glad that it's becoming more acceptable. Because I do think it's a really beautiful art form, and people should be able to express themselves, like how they dress or do their hair. I think the tattoos are very similar.
Yeah, it's a little painful. Just a little.
They're hand tattoos. They're gonna hurt. So when I told my dad that I wanted to become a tattoo artist, I think I was still grounded from the getting the tattoo at 12 and the paying the homeless man in beer after stealing beer and money from my dad incident. But he said that I would never make any money and that it was a dumb idea, and that if I wanted to pursue art, that I could pursue art all I wanted on my own time, but I had to go to university and I had to get a real job. So I went to university, I got a bachelor's degree, I dropped out of teachers college because I just could not see myself being happy doing that. All the power to all y'all teachers out there. I really respect all of y'all, but I could not personally do that. So I dropped out of teachers college, and by that point in time, my dad was like, I'm sorry for telling you to go to university. Things were different 30 years ago when I went, and it does not guarantee you a job anymore. Credential inflation is a huge problem. Everybody has a master's degree nowadays. That doesn't mean anything to most employers. So, I decided to do something I wanted to do, and he lent me the money to open my shop. In the end, he was very supportive, and he continues to be. My dad got his first tattoo at 67 years old, and I did it. He now has a whale on one arm because he wants to save the whales, and an elephant on the. He's always been very, very committed to wildlife, so that made him happy.
Let's start with what we're doing in the flowers.
It's embarrassing to say, but I did start out scratching, which is basically tattooing out of your home. I had a close friend who worked as a professional tattoo artist, and she really kind of told me what you can and can't do. You can't boil those metal tubes. It's not going to sterilize them. You have to buy disposable tubes. You have to wrap your machine. Things like that. A lot of people working out of their home don't know this, which is what's kind of scary about not having a professional tattoo. But a lot of us did start that way, whether we'd like to admit it or not. You got to get your foot in the door. You meet people in the industry. Hopefully your art's good enough that they will take a chance on you and give you an apprenticeship. My come up was hard. I was tattooing like 6 hours before I had to get on a bus to go to my C-section. You know what I mean? I was biking with tattoo gear in my backpack across the city to do tattoos, that kind of thing. Was it the right way to do things? Definitely not. But I guess the ends justify the means.
Interesting. It's way more fun when we start doing
yeah.
color.
I'm walking around with just the outline for a little too long now.
Agreed.
A lot of people say, you know, buy a house when you decorate the walls. You live in your body. You might as well. You feel exposed. You feel naked without your tattoos. You know, the more I can get my legs done, the less I have to wear on the beach, and that's great in the summer. But no, people do it for different reasons. Some people will just get a little small tattoo of something really meaningful to them. Some people only have 3 or 4 tattoos and they mean everything to them. Some people, you know, get a paperclip tattooed on their face because why not? It'll fit. So, you know, different reasons for different people. Tattoo culture has changed a lot. We're still very competitive people. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, and a lot of us don't do it in a petty way. We just want to be the best. Everybody wants to be the best. Generally, we're very supportive of each other as artists, and we're very supportive of other people in the art community, be it recording artists or artists that are putting up shows at galleries, you know. One artist I mentioned, Curtis Worth, he does really amazing paintings, like oil paintings, realistic, you know, so we're very supportive of each other. We're very supportive of the art community. We're generally quite accepting people because we're used to people not being accepting of us. The best part of this job is the people for sure. I mean, I do love the art, and don't get me wrong, that's a huge part of why I do this, but my clients really make this special to me. They push my limits to create new things. They always have great stories, and it makes me feel, I'm kind of introverted. It makes me feel like I can get out there and talk to people without having anxiety about it.
I got my first tattoo when I was 15. I had a homemade tattoo on my leg of a little heart that was absolutely horrible. So I went and had it fixed, and I had a lovely panther that's jumping through fire put on my leg. It was the worst tattoo possible, but that was my first tattoo. I've had a cover-up done on this arm in particular. There was a pin-up girl that I had on there, and she was not very proportioned. The coloring wasn't very good, so I went and had this one done. And this one is a representation of kind of my happy side and my dark side a little bit, hence why the face is a happy face and kind of more of an evil face. Both my grandmothers were very much into gardening and hummingbirds and gosh, well, anything to do with the outside. So this is where this whole arm kind of came from, was to do with the outdoors. And then my frog is my prince that's going to turn soon, hopefully. Some of them are very sporadic. Other ones that I've really put time into are the ones about my family, basically. It's anything to do with them. I have an angel on my leg that represents my grandmother when she passed. But I also have Betty Boop on my leg, which represents me. So it's just, yeah, the thought process is just basically when I see something and it reminds me of somebody and I love the artwork that goes into it, I like to then put it onto myself so I can always remember it. So I have Haley and Hunter on my arm down here. I also have another one of Nicholas and Mitchell, and my last name's Hares and a bunny rabbit, so I have 2 rabbits on my arm as well. A lot of my tattoos have representation of my family. On the back of my neck, I have Hunter, my youngest little boy, drew his first potato person, and I had that put on my neck, and Haley drew her first butterfly. So I had those two put on my neck to remember their first drawings by. I like the artwork. For me, even hearing the tattoo gun, the humming sound of it is very relaxing for me. So instead of a spa day for me, it's more of a tattoo day. I like to be able to look down and see different meanings to my body. Future of my tattoos, they're mostly sporadic, so I've just started working on my hands. I really kind of like the hand tattoos. Again, it's more the flower theme. I am working on a piece for my leg, which is going to be a family tree, so it would be quite a big piece to put on the top of my leg. For me, it's just when things come into my head and I like that idea or I see it, then I want to represent it on my body.
I've done my time. I've gotten lots of painful tattoos.
It's definitely not as painful with that on there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I've only been doing this for about 10 years, and I'm not from here. So I don't have the same, connections to other people. I didn't grow up with meeting people in the industry and that kind of thing. 10 years in, a lot of people are still kind of finding their style or really perfecting it if they found what they want to do. But quite honestly, I don't mind doing the little stuff. I don't mind doing things that other people are tired of or have done so many times. Like if you want an infinity symbol with a feather on it and that really makes you happy, I'll give you your infinity symbol with a feather, even if you found it amongst 300 other infinity symbol with a feather tattoos on Pinterest. I'm happy that tribal is no longer a big thing because it is monotonous to fill it all in. Face tattoos have become a trend. I see more and more people around the city with face tattoos. I'm not going to be surprised if in 10 years I go into the bank and the person that's giving me investment advice about whether or not to put money in this stock or that stock has hand and face tattoos. Tattoos used to be a bigger thing in society anyway, you know what I mean? In different countries, there are different trends. I just had a friend go to Japan and she told me that she had to cover up her tattoos when she was walking around because they find it offensive and it's still very tied to, I guess, gang activity or something like that because of the big Yakuza tattoos that people get on the backs. People used to get the huge Polynesian tattoos all over their face. Native American people used to get tattoos. I guess for the trends, things are going to come in and out, be popular, not be popular in society. I just know that in my lifetime, it's never going to be unacceptable again because so many people have it now. People ask me things like, what are you going to do what are you going to do about your tattoos when you're old? And I think that's a really silly question because one, many people are going to be heavily tattooed when I'm old. Two, we can play the game of what did this used to be in the retirement home, which will be fun. And three, would you really want to just be a boring old person? Like, I'd rather have a collection of tattoos than a fine china or cat with watering can crew neck sweaters. I'm going to be an interesting old person, I guess. Tattoos are getting smaller, I guess. That's a trend. People are getting little minimalist micro flowers, micro tattoos, little tiny things done on their fingers rather than large script or large hand pieces. That's kind of a trend right now. Luckily, if it ever becomes not a trend, that stuff will be easy to cover up. I'm glad people aren't getting Pooh Bear tattoos for their kids anymore. Little Johnny may like Winnie the Pooh at 4, but when that is disgustingly faded because it's mostly yellow, when he is 34 and you're at his wedding and it's on your shoulder, Johnny's not going to be as impressed, you know what I mean? So I'm glad that people are getting things like birth flowers or dates in Roman numerals, things like that for their child. My face tattoos for Courtney. I've got the first thing she ever drew, tattooed on my back, ribs, somewhere, patience across my knuckles to always remind me to have patience with my poor child. Oh, that kid. But no, I mean, that's a big thing, people getting stuff for family members, kids. I think that's always going to be important in the tattoo industry, getting memorial tattoos when somebody dies. There's a bit of a trend of getting ashes tattooed into your body, but we don't do that here.
I'm down with my knuckle.
I know, I'm sorry.
Oh, people ask to get things on strange body parts. I mean, there's a $500 handling fee plus our hourly rate. I think that's kind of the weirdest thing that people ask in this industry. And I mean, even so, it's not that strange. Whatever people want, you know, whatever they do in the privacy of their own and how they want to decorate themselves while doing it, that's their business. And quite honestly, we don't judge people here. There's nothing that really shocks a lot of tattoo artists anymore. The only thing we really get mad at is if people walk out without paying.
I got my first tattoo when I was 20-ish. I went with my best friend at the time just because we wanted to do something together. We got the tattoos together. She couldn't handle the pain. I could. I had to give her a pop during the process because she thought she was going to pass out. And I loved the way it felt, but at the end, I wasn't happy with the way it looked. I wanted a butterfly on my hip.
Why?
Because I love butterflies. This one was a miscommunication. He did an amazing job when he first did the whole outline and everything. I probably should have just left it that way, but then when he colored in, his colors were too dark. But I used to have this thing, I used to say, black butterflies, don't tell lies. Like, I don't know, it would never make sense to anybody else, but it made sense to me. So I was like, okay, Mitch, you're good, whatever. But next time I go to get a new tattoo, he's gonna try to put some color in this one. So Ashley is my now 9-year-old son. But at the time when he did this, he would have probably been 7 when he wrote his name out to write his name out so I could get it on the back of my neck for my tattoo. And he was super excited to do it. And he thought it was super cool when mommy showed him the result from, right? I have one, I think it's on this side, it's another butterfly. This one I wanted to do because I actually started doing roller derby a couple years ago. And I was like, they're all tattooed up. I was like, I want to tattoo myself up, right? I just like the picture I found. And it was just wings at the time that I saw. And I was like, could you put a black heart in the middle? I like the colors, the wings, freedom. They fly, they change from the little whatever and move on. I need to learn how to live my life that way. Just be free.
So we could do pink with like a few splashes of other color in there just to kind of give the sense.
Everybody kind of has their thing that they like. Some people like making their car really nice. Some people love gardening. Some people, it's just my thing. I've always loved art, and this is just the main medium that I work in. I still paint. I do mixed media art. I will try my hand at what I consider sculpture. I don't think other people would consider it sculpture. It's kind of like the horrible things the mother makes in the Beetlejuice movie. Tattooing is just kind of the medium that I work the most in, and it's a passion for art more than anything else. I took every possible class that there was in high school for art. But you know, I've always drawn. I've always been very interested in just expression. self-expression, human expression. I think it's really beautiful. It's hard on your body. Tattooing is hard on your body. You spend a lot of time bent over, trying to look very closely at a really small area. It's hard on your wrists. It's hard on your back. It's hard on your eyes. A lot of people get carpal tunnel syndrome, tendinitis. We all have back problems. I go to the gym specifically to counteract what I'm doing at work. I bounced around to a few small, no-name type of shops at the start of my career. I didn't like how certain things were done. I didn't like how certain things were run. That's why I opened up my own shop. But you know what? The more I get to know other people in this industry, the more I see a lot of really great, upstanding people, really great, upstanding shops. And yeah, I mean, I'm really happy to be doing this in Nova Scotia. There are a lot of great artists out here. You really get to know your clients well when you're a tattoo artist. You get to know them on a personal level. What they get represents who they are, and that's kind of nice. I like to be able to work with people on that kind of level. Tattoos make people happy too, like when you get your hair done and it makes you feel pretty, or when you save up for some really nice shoes or a really nice car that you wanted. It gives people confidence. It's an accomplishment. And I like giving them that feeling. It's nice, you know, you go out in the community and you recognize somebody, you're like, I know that person, but I'm not quite sure where from. And then you see a little tattoo you did on their wrist, or, hey, you're my tattoo artist. How are things going at the new shop? It's really nice. Like I said, you really get on a personal level with your clients, and it creates this nice sense of community. You meet people from all different walks of life. You get to hear really interesting stories, and it's great. In this day and age, there are a lot of people in this industry, and if you're good enough to be here, somebody will let you know. We all want that well-known, booming shop. But as for my own art, I would just like to really give people what they want, give people good tattoos. I want them to stand the test of time. If I'm never rich and famous, that's fine. It is about the art, and really I just want my tattoos to hold up over the years, still look good 10, 15, 20 years down the road. You see some of the stuff that was done with the old ink, and back when machines weren't as good and they still sparked, and some of those tattoos that were done 40, 50 years ago are just a big blob on an older gentleman's arm, you know what I mean? The ink we use is a lot better now. The machines we use are a lot better now. What with Instagram and Facebook, you're held to higher standards in the industry from other artists. You're always trying to push yourself a little bit more. So I think just wherever it goes is wherever it goes. I just want to do quality work. But I'm happy. I enjoy what I do. I'm showing my child that she can do what she wants, make a living out of it. Maybe you won't be rich and famous, but you will be happy.